Some people believe in lucky charms, like four-leaf clovers, but one family uncovered something amazing thanks to a lucky horseshoe.
In 1940, the Jones family of Peterstown, West Virginia, is internationally famous.
Grover and Grace Jones are the equivalent to modern-day celebrities, and that's because they have 15 children. But here's the kicker. All of them are boys.
According to Ripley's Believe It or Not, this is a world record. The New York World's Fair celebrates Grover Jones Day, and President Roosevelt even invites the family to the White House.
But incredibly, this won't be the family's most rewarding moment. That story begins a decade earlier when Grover finds something unusual.
Back in 1928, Grover is playing horseshoes with his eldest son, whom they call Punch. During the game, one of Punch's tosses goes way off course, and so Punch goes off to find the lost horseshoe.
And he notices a cool-looking rock sticking out of the ground.
To Punch and his father, this looks like an interesting piece of quartz, which is common in that area of West Virginia. So they put it in a cigar box, put it on the shelf in the family shed, and forget about it.
14 years later, Punch develops an interest in rocks and remembers the piece of quartz he found with his dad.
Punch reaches out to a geology professor named Roy Holden at Virginia Polytechnic Institute. Now, Holden is used to people coming to him with stones and gems that they found, thinking that there's something more than they are. So he initially blows Punch off, but Punch is persistent.
So Holden pulls out his magnification loupe, and when he gets a closer look, he's stunned at what he finds. This rock is not a piece of quartz. It's an actual diamond. It's an incredibly lucky find.
But that luck doesn't last forever.
In 1944, World War II is raging, and Punch decides to loan his lucky diamond to the Smithsonian while he goes off to fight in the war.
Sadly, Punch will never see the diamond again. He's killed in an ambush on Easter Sunday, 1945.
Over the next 4 decades, the diamond spends most of its time in a safe deposit box at the local bank.
And then, in 1984, the family decides to finally sell the stone.
The diamond sells for just over $200,000 in today's currency. It's purchased by an anonymous Asian buyer.
There's not much known about him, and for the last 4 decades, the Punch diamond has gone completely underground.
Nobody knows where it is, nobody knows who has it, and nobody knows if we'll ever see it again. In February of 2013, a Northern California couple are walking their dog on their property when they see something that catches their eye. It's a can protruding from the ground.
But as they pull on the wire handle, they find that what it's attached to is incredibly heavy.
They take the lid off, and they can't believe what they see. The whole thing is filled, cram-packed with gold coins.
They go on to discover 7 more cans, holding a total of nearly 1,400 coins.
The couple, now known only as John and Mary because they want to remain anonymous, get in touch with a coin expert to authenticate and evaluate the haul.
The expert confirms the coins are real and estimates they could be worth as much as $10 million in all.
Not only are these coins in great condition, they are from the late 1800s, and most of them appear to be uncirculated.
Now that's unusual. It means that they never made it from the mint to circulate as common currency.
These coins were probably on their way to a bank, and they were being transported there by stagecoach, which then may have been liberated by robbers.
If this is true, who could have stolen such a large hoard? And why didn't they come back to get it?
Anytime you raise the specter of stolen gold and hidden treasure in the Old West, the top of that list is none other than the most notorious outlaw, Jesse James.
James is not only known as a robber in the area, but he was amassing wealth to create a new Confederate army.
But historians quickly dismiss this theory. James was killed by Robert Ford in 1882, and some of those coins are dated as late as 1894, so that eliminates Jesse James.
Next on the suspect list is Charles Bowles, better known as Black Bart, the gentleman bandit, noted for his cunning and also for his flair.
It is said that he robbed somewhere around 30 stagecoaches in Northern California, which is where this couple finds this vast amount of loot. So for many, he's an obvious suspect.
In 1883, Bart is captured and sentenced to prison. He spends the next 4 years behind bars in San Quentin. So maybe he stole and stashed the loot after he was released. If so, he never retrieves it.
Now that they're free to do with them as they please, the couple takes a portion of the coins and puts them up for sale. And pretty quickly, the couple pockets a cool $3.8 million. And to this day, it is the largest discovery of gold coins ever in the United States. Not a bad day for just taking a walk with your dog.
Titans like John D. Rockefeller have made fortunes from oil. But in 2017, one man finds a fortune in someplace unusual.
British businessman Nick Mead has an unusual enterprise, a company called Tanks-A-Lot.
They purchase decommissioned military tanks from all over the world, and they rent them out for special events, weddings, kids' birthday parties, and for $3,000, he'll even give you a guided tour around London.
So it's fair to say that Nick's a tank guy, and he's always on the lookout for something new to add to his fleet.
One day, while he's browsing online, Nick comes across a real score. It's an ex-Iraqi military Type 69 main battle tank that was used in the Gulf War.
This is a tank with a lot of power. It has a 100mm main gun and a 12.7mm machine gun. And believe it or not, Nick gets it for less than the price of a lot of new cars, $37,000.
When the Iraqi tank arrives, Nick and his mechanic dive right in. And when they get to the gas tank, they find it's remarkably heavy.
They're excited, but also very cautious.
If you can lift a bit.
What's the matter?
What is it?
What the?
No.
Inside the fuel tank, there are 5 gold bars with an estimated cash value of $2.4 million.
Oil has been called liquid gold. But how did actual gold end up in this tank?
In August of 1990, during the first Gulf War, Iraqi troops storm into Kuwait and loot almost everything inside. They steal the gold bath fixtures from the emir's palace. They take computers. They take rare antiquities and Islamic art. They even take animals from the royal zoo.
But their celebration is short-lived. U.S. forces intervene and liberate Kuwait in February 1991. And the return of the looted merchandise becomes a crucial part of the peace negotiations.
6 months after the end of the conflict, the Iraqis returned about 3,200 gold bars to Kuwait under UN supervision. And that gold was worth a whopping $700 million.
But it seems not everything is sent back.
To his credit, when he discovers the gold bars, Nick reports them to the authorities. British authorities show up, they take the gold bars, and they give Nick a receipt.
This is all done with the explanation that they're going to find the rightful owner and return the gold bars to that owner. But it's been over 7 years now, and as far as Nick knows, the gold bars have not been returned to their original owner.
He even tells reporters that he regrets turning the gold over to the cops and feels that he should, at the very least, have got a finder's fee.
There are a lot of things we hope for on a vacation. R&R, maybe a few really good meals. But I'm guessing one of the things we don't expect is finding treasure on the bottom of the Mediterranean Sea.
In October 2021, Shlomi Katzin, who lives along the coast, is out for a weekend dive. He's not looking for anything in particular, he just enjoys being in the water to relax.
500 feet from shore, he spots something strange on the seafloor.
It looks sort of like a rock, but it's shaped like a cross.
Whatever this thing is, it's encrusted with barnacles, seashells, and other marine life, and it seems like it's been there for ages.
Katzin brushes some sand away and realizes it's much longer than he thought, at least 4 feet. Then he goes to lift it. It's very heavy.
He realizes that this isn't a cross at all. It's a sword.
Katzin turns it over to the Israel Antiquities Authority, and he learns that it's about 900 years old.
It turns out this sword was used in the Crusades.
It is extremely rare to find a sword from these holy wars. Most of them were melted down to reuse the metal.
The Israeli authorities think it was buried deep in the sand, but was jarred loose by a storm about 4 months earlier.
Authorities begin to study the sword more closely, but as they remove the barnacles, the blade shatters.
Instead, they x-ray the sword. They determine that it's made of iron, and because the blade is straight and not curved, they can also tell that it likely belonged to a Christian soldier, not a Muslim one.
It's possible the sword was just strapped overboard, but because of the x-rays, they can see that the sword is slightly bent and the handle's been whacked out of alignment. So perhaps this was lost in battle.
Some historians think that this sword could have been used as part of King Richard the Lionheart's campaign at the end of the 1100s, as he battled along the coast of what is now Israel in the Third Crusade.
Whatever its journey, the sword ended up in the perfect location.
According to experts, the very specific conditions of these waters helped preserve the sword. Not only did the barnacles and other growth provide a protective layer, but the fact that the waters in this area stay roughly the same temperature year-round also helped save it.
And with so many people scuba diving in this particular area, who knows what other amazing things will be discovered next.
Discovering a long-lost relic can be really exciting. It can also reveal something disturbing.
One morning in 1978, electrical workers are digging in an area of Mexico City to install an underground power transformer. But work comes to a stop when they hit what appears to be a boulder.
They start digging around this thing, and they realize very quickly that this is no ordinary rock.
It's a 10-foot circular stone with very detailed carvings.
It depicts a female figure. However, scattered around it are body parts, all cut into pieces. Archaeologists are called in, and they immediately identify the figure as an Aztec god.
The image is actually the ancient Aztec female deity known as Coyoxauhqui.
And it's believed the stone once stood at the entrance to the Aztecs' primary temple, the Templo Mayor. However, it's been missing for centuries.
But the discovery of this circular stone leads researchers to take a closer look at the surrounding area, where they make an even more disturbing find in 2015.
A building is being renovated very close to where they found the stone. Workers dig under the structure when they find a chamber made of volcanic rock walls with a flagstone floor.
And when they look inside the chamber, what they see is just chilling. It's a wall made up entirely of human skulls.
Over the next 2 years, archaeologists discover that this wall of skulls is actually a giant skull tower called a zompantli. Spanish accounts say that the Aztecs built a variety of these structures, utilizing the skulls of their enemies.
These skull racks were used primarily for intimidation. Just imagine what it felt like to look at a huge wall of human skulls.
The legend of this skull tower goes back centuries, but this discovery makes the myth very real.
Over the next couple years, the archaeologists continue to excavate and discover around 600 more skulls, but they do believe that at one point in time it held over 60,000.
2 years later, there's another shocking twist.
Some of these skulls are actually the skulls of women and children. Before this discovery, most historians believed the skull racks only displayed the skulls of enemy warriors.
But this discovery has the experts rethinking the purpose of these towers. Were women and children serving as warriors? Were they sacrificed as enemy populations, or could have been something else?
Historians are working to put answers together, but it seems likely that there are many more sacred secrets of the Aztecs hiding under Mexico City.
Let's say you're a chemist on vacation in Italy. You go for a scuba dive and see something truly alarming on the seafloor. That's exactly what happened to one guy in August of 1972.
Stefano Mariottini is vacationing in the town of Riace, off the coast of the Ionian Sea.
He's diving about 600 feet from shore when suddenly, 20 feet down, he sees something that stops his heart cold. An arm sticking out of the bottom of the ocean.
He works up the courage to swim down, and immediately he realizes, oh, I didn't find a body. What this actually is a life-size bronze statue.
And ancient bronze statues are extremely hard to come by because, generally speaking, they were often melted down for the metal because it was needed for weaponry or engineering. But this statue survived that fate by being buried underwater.
Mariottini alerts Italian authorities, and he joins a salvage team to bring up that statue, along with a second one that's discovered nearby.
These things are made of solid bronze, 6.5 feet tall, and roughly 900 pounds apiece. So raising them is going to be a massive, massive undertaking.
The team works in shifts to dislodge the statues from the bottom, and then they raise them to the surface using what we call lift bags, which are big bags filled with air, and the air slowly expands as it gets closer to the surface. So it helps you lift very heavy objects.
When researchers clean them up, they discover these statues are from ancient Greece.
And they're 2,500 years old. They become known as the Riace bronzes.
At first, they're thought to be Greek warriors. Then later research determines that one of them may be Eumolpus, the son of Poseidon, a Greek demigod.
While the original purpose of these statues is unknown, researchers wonder how such valuable artifacts ended up at the bottom of the sea.
Some people believe they may have fallen off of a ship in transport, or they were in the cargo hold of a ship that sunk.
Others say that the statues might be part of a temple that's now submerged due to rising sea level.
Incredibly, these are 2 of only 30 intact Greek bronze statues ever found from this time period.
Investigators have returned to excavate parts of the site. They're hoping to find out how these amazing relics could have ended up lost at the bottom of the Ionian Sea in the first place.
The world is full of fortunes just waiting to be found. Most construction jobs turn up nothing more than rock and dirt. But in 1985, one team in Poland strikes something that stops them in their tracks.
On June 6, 1985, in the town of Shroda, crews are excavating for a new telephone exchange building. As they're digging, they hit something hard, and that causes all work to come to a halt.
The workers gather around, and what it looks like they found is a big clay pot. Now, this needs to be removed for work to resume, so they begin digging.
As they pry the object from the ground, the inside of the vessel reveals something shocking.
Gold and silver coins spill out of this container. A lot of them. This is obviously an important find, so the team in charge calls in the authorities.
The Polish government sends a security team to ensure that no one tampers with, or worse, steals the hoard. They transport the coins under high security to the Archaeological Museum in nearby Wrocław.
As the museum's curators sort through the find, they identify some coins that have distinct markings on them. A crown on one side and a lion on the other. Written in Latin on the coins are the words De Gratia Rex Boheme, which means, by the grace of God, the King of Bohemia.
These are a type of currency known as Prague groschen. They were first minted around the year 1300, and they stayed in use until around the mid-1500s. The team dates these particular coins back to the mid-14th century, which means they were some of the first groschen ever made.
Nearby, another construction team uncovers even more ancient relics.
There, they find multiple clay jars with 4,000 coins, gold jewelry, and pendants. Amongst the treasure, researchers also find a gold wedding crown, the only one of its kind ever found from this period.
After years of research, historians conclude that this treasure comes from King Charles IV of Bohemia, who eventually ascended to become the Holy Roman Emperor in 1355. The title has a complicated history, but it dates back to the time of Charlemagne. The emperor ruled a huge swath of territory in Central and Western Europe, including this region, which is now part of Poland.
When experts trace how this royal treasure ended up here, they uncover a troubling chapter in Charles IV's reign.
Charles spent a lot of money in his day. He built a lot of castles, he built a university, and he bought a lot of art. He also had trouble collecting taxes from his subjects, so at times, Charles was broke.
Researchers believe that the emperor took out a loan from a banker in Shroda named Mushka, using his jewels and his crowns as collateral.
Tragically, during Charles's reign, the Black Plague hits this area hard. So some experts believe that Mushka died from the plague.
Before his death, it's believed Mushka hides the hoard.
If Mushka hid the treasure, Charles didn't know where to find it. And the Shroda hoard became one of the greatest archaeological finds of the 20th century.
Estimates of the value of the treasure today are as high as 120 million. These days, pieces of the collection are viewed at museums across Poland. And of course, one of those museums is right in the heart of the town where they found it, Shroda.
Next, another underground treasure trove helps put a city on the map.
In July of 1886, a widow hires a handyman by the name of George Harrison to help her build a house on her small farm in central South Africa. So one day, Harrison goes out to collect stones for construction. And as he's rummaging around, he notices one stone that looks a bit different than the others.
Looked like it was made of lots of little pebbles that were glued together with something like sand. Curious, he takes the stone and just smashed it apart to see what was inside.
As the stone cracks open, it shimmers in the sunlight. Harrison suspects he's found something special, but he takes the rock to his best friend for a second opinion.
The friend happens to be a former miner. And so all it takes is one look at Harrison's find and he knows exactly what he's looking at. That shimmering dust is gold.
Harrison figures if there's one rock with gold, there's probably many more. So he contacts the widow who owns the land in order to get mining rights, and she grants them. He then contacts the government and stakes a claim.
News of the gold strike spreads quickly, and prospectors flood the area.
You have to remember, this is the 1800s, so during this era in history, it seems that everybody is gold crazy. 1849, you have the very famous California gold rush, where the state explodes in population from 1,000 non-natives to about 100,000 in a short period of time. In the 1850s, gold is found in Victoria, Australia. In the 1870s, you have gold found in Venezuela. So basically, at that time, if somebody yelled gold, people were just going to come rushing over in droves.
Harrison's find transforms this tiny, sparse rural community. Thousands of people flock in the first month alone. And as more prospectors come, they find more gold, which they set up more camps, which attracts more prospectors, eventually stretching to a line 40 miles long.
Harrison's gold strike literally puts the area on the map, and within a few months, this booming town receives a name, Johannesburg. Within 10 years, it becomes the largest city in South Africa. It becomes this vibrant financial hub of the nation, and today, it boasts a population of around 5 million people.
The area Harrison discovered becomes known as the Witwatersrand Goldfield, and it's still the richest deposit of gold in the world.
To date, over 2 billion ounces of gold have been pulled out of the Witwatersrand region, which at today's prices is worth around $5 trillion. And most experts estimate that there's at least another 1 billion ounces left to mine in the region.
The famous quarry has made fortunes for countless miners, but not for the man who found it.
Reports say he sells his claim for like 10 pounds, which is around $2,000 in today's money. And then he disappears, never to be heard from again.
Today, George Harrison is commemorated by a Johannesburg city park on the spot of his original mining claim, in tribute to the man who helped to create an incredible city and many, many, many fortunes.